Now they lost it on the 40 acres on campus grounds. We gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they're the talk of the town. High castles of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories. From touchdowns to heartbreakers, we discuss it all. Texas Longhorns glory. Here we gather round each Thursday night, talking sports, it's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Harry, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams who might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
You know, Tim, we're going to need an update.
Oh, you want an update now?
In 2 weeks, because we're no longer going to be Big 12 conference champions. We're going to be SEC.
Oh, you saying we're going to be SEC champions in 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks.
3 weeks. Is it 2 weeks?
No, 2 weeks,
it's 2 weeks.
There's only 2 games left of the season, fam.
Yo, is this game next week? Oh, wow.
We got
Wow.
Kentucky this weekend, and then of course we got little bro next weekend.
Right.
I've got something for next week that I'm gonna drop on Monday.
For next week?
Yep.
You're gonna drop it, or you wait? What? Like, what are we talking? We talking video?
We talking hype.
Oh, you got a hype video?
I'm gonna make a hype video. I've got something in mind. I need to put it down on paper.
All right, I'm down
But
for
it's
it.
been 12 years, and we need to make sure that those 12 years are brought back correctly. Because, listen, Twitter's gonna be at an all-time high next week.
Oh yeah, for sure, for
Actually,
sure.
it's
Next
gonna
week is
be
gonna be. It's gonna be different because normally we don't have that game, that rivalry game. We haven't had it in years, right? So to continue to get it or to bring it back, just the addition of, and we'll get to Arkansas, but the addition of adding Arkansas and A&M is almost special. Really, if you think about it, the only other rivalry we would need to bring back is like maybe Texas versus Nebraska. Those were always dogfights back in the day. They always meant something, and those were some legendary games as a kid. I don't know about you, but as a child growing up here in the great state of Texas, um, we all learned about geography and stuff like that, but college football has really taught me a lot about other states, taught me about a lot of different traditions. And so, bringing these rivalries back are always dope. Even within our own state, right? There's so many different cities and so many different areas of Texas that a lot of people haven't been in outside of their own city. So it's great to have these traditions back and these rivalries back.
Yeah, no, it's good, and old ones are being brought back, new ones are being created.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just a different era, and it's fun to be a part of. It's great. It's great to be here. It's great to be, and it's also great to be good and in the thick of
Right.
things, to be
Yeah.
relevant, to be hated by the media for a different reason. Like
Yeah.
we love
Absolutely.
all the smoke from the media, and we'll
How
talk a
fast?
little. Actually, before I get started, I kind of went off there. How you doing?
Man, as a Longhorn fan, I am excited. As a Cowboys fan, I don't know what. I haven't seen this type of losing in a while. Since drafting Dak Prescott and drafting Ezekiel Elliott, I haven't seen this, and that's been almost 10 years, right? You know, I don't necessarily. Jerry Jones is slowly no. Jerry Jones isn't slowly turning into Al Davis. Jerry Jones is in full Al Davis mode. Like he is going
You
crazy.
mean Shador Dion Al Davis mode?
No, it's just like he's not like one thing that Jerry Jones has always had is he's always had the gift of gab. And now people are not even trying to hear him talk anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we don't, most of the time Jerry can say something slick and manage to get his way out of a situation.
Yeah.
Nobody's biting on that right now. Not the media is not biting on it. Fans are not biting on it. Fans are starting to not show up to games, which is normally unheard of, because Dallas has one of the best and biggest fan bases. Doesn't matter if win, lose, or draw, they always show up. Last week they got beat up, and it wasn't a lot of Texas fans. I mean, it wasn't a lot of Cowboys fans there.
That was a pretty close game for a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Listen, Houston has some issues. They can't protect anything.
Overrated. That's
Especially
an overrated football team, right?
especially on that right side. They're also banged up. Like they are just at receiver, they are just dinged up everywhere. I wanted to see the Diggs matchup, of course, Stephon versus Trayvon, but that didn't happen because of injury. So I guess we'll have to wait. I don't even think, to be honest, I don't think Stephon Diggs is going to be there past next year. I think they'll draft a wide receiver and bring him on and get Stephon Diggs out of there.
Nico's their number one.
Nico's the guy.
That's established. He's
Nico and Tank Dell, they're the guys.
yeah, for sure. That's the future.
So, but yeah,
Uh,
how was what you got going on? What's going on in your world?
I'm actually feeling the opposite of you. I'm feeling this sense of like small optimism as my camera freezes. Right? I'm at a point as a Colts fan where I want to finally, somebody in the organization like grew a pair and they brought everybody back to their senses. Anthony Richardson started. Lo and
Right.
behold, the offense started moving. AD Mitchell looked good. Shout out AD Mitchell.
He does. He
And
does look good.
and the Colts win that
That's
game.
looks good.
Granted, it's the Jets. I don't care.
Right.
They have a great defense,
Yes, they
and
do.
I ran over a cornerback to win the game.
Yeah.
And so that felt great. I'm at this weird spot now, and hang with me here, Tim.
Okay.
I don't want to. I want to win, right? But I don't
Right.
want to win too much, right? And there's a reason for that. The reason why is because I want this GM gone.
Mm-hmm.
I need Chris Ballard to be fired for the absolute mess that he has created for 9 years.
Okay.
You remember Marvin Lewis?
Yeah, I do.
So Marvin Lewis, as you and I famously known, was famous for staying the Bengals head coach for over a decade while being mediocre.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but at the GM.
Marvin Harris was the that one guy that basically all he did was go either 8-8 or he went 12-4, and he was right up in there. He never strayed any further. There was one year they went 14-2 and then lost in the first round of the playoffs. That was bad. But yeah, he wasn't good. I think a lot of these coaches are becoming stale, and these players are not responding. And you can say the same thing about these GMs. I can say the same thing about Jerry. You can say the same thing about your GM. They've become stale, and people are not listening to them, and players are not caring. And when you get in a situation like that, like, it's time for a change. And I'm not saying that it needs to be a big change, but it still something needs to happen.
I think there's a generational shift, and I think it starts at Roger Goodell. Like, I think that his time has come to an end. I'm starting to think about the NBA in the same light, for a much different. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I will tell you, 90% of the GMs in the NFL are trash. There's maybe 3 or 4 really good GMs. There's maybe 3 or 4 good GMs in the entire league. The rest of them are all trash. And remember that, like, when people used to say, like, well, you can't like build. This isn't Madden. Like, you can't build this team. Like, actually, yes, you can.
Yeah, look at the 49ers. Outside of this year, look at the 49ers and look what they've done within the last 5 to 6 years.
Why not this year? Look at what the Commanders did in one offseason.
Yeah. Look at the Eagles. The Eagles found a way to add superstars at almost every level.
Yeah. So now, like, that argument of, like, listen, you go watch the best YouTube, like, franchise builders on YouTube.
Yeah.
They could put any of those guys on any of these rosters, any of these teams, and they could flip a team in a year. I promise you they could. I really do think they could flip a team in a year.
Yeah, I believe it. 1,000%.
So I'd be very intrigued of, like, the best YouTuber since we're out here playing games and stuff, nobody's taking this seriously anyway. So many terrible teams. Find the best YouTuber. Go make him the GM of a team for a season and see what happens.
He could probably do it because
YouTubers
they work the numbers. They look at the contract.
They do it in the freaking game. Like,
yeah.
It's literally the same. And people are like, well, it's a video. They're programmed the exact same.
And it's almost impossible to trade on Madden. So people that are able to pull off these contracts in Madden is absolutely insane.
And if you look at some of the GMs in this league, some of those trades in Madden, these GMs would, like, salivate. Man, that's awesome. That's a great trade. And you end up giving up Devontae Adams for a 6th round pick. It's stupid. So what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm now on the bus. There's two theories that I have, and we'll move on to the Texas one. Number one, 90% of the GMs in this league are stupid. Number two, you can hire a YouTuber and they will do better than those 90% of the GMs. And number three, half these coaches in the league are dumb too. Like I dealt with the potato head coach for 6 years, and I'm sure like C2 or C4 or whatever his name is.
Calling your head coach or calling your GM a potato head coach is absolutely
They're all idiots, potato heads, idiot, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I need everybody in the Colts organization, front office to be fired. Mishandling of Anthony Richardson, and Jim Irsay needs to retire.
Ooh.
He's already behind the scenes anyway. When's the last time you legitimately heard from Jim?
I know it's been a while, and usually, you hear from Jim.
I think he's done
at least once a year.
I think he's no. I think he's done after this year. And I think holding on to Chris Ballard was his saving having control over the team. I think he's going to hand it over. And you know who I want as my GM? I told you this name. I don't know.
Who?
Louis Riddick. That is my number one choice for GM.
Listen, Louis Riddick always gets the jobs. I remember when they interviewed him for I want to say the Ravens. He was up for the Ravens. He was up for the Browns. He was up for Denver.
He hasn't gotten a shot in a long time. But I want Louis Riddick. Give me Louis Riddick, a guy that believes in the quarterback that we're stuck with for the next.
And a former player.
And go get me that guy, the OC for the Lions. Set. We're set. You've got the offense. You don't have to make many changes. The GM already believes in the offense and the quarterback, so boom, you're set there. If he believes in Shane, fine. If not, bring in your own head coach who can fit that quarterback. Oh, and the fourth thing I was going to say, all quarterbacks are quarterbacks or assistant quarterbacks. It's up to the GM to figure out how to use it. And so go get me a GM that knows and likes Anthony Richardson and believes in him and make him and let him build a team.
Okay.
He's publicly already said, I really like Anthony Richardson. I think he could be a star in this league. Well, cool. Yeah. Come be the guy that helps make that happen.
Yeah. I would like to see Mike Zimmer step down and be a position coach, go back to being a positions coach. And I think Al Harris, who is a defensive backs position coach, I think he should get a shot at being a defensive coordinator because what he's done with these defensive backs within the last couple of years has been absolutely insane. We are getting Deron Bland back this year, but I mean it's too little, too late. The season's pretty much over. I think mathematically they say that the Cowboys are still in it. I don't care about that. I'm at this point just kind of looking into the future, looking at who the next guys up are going to be, and what they're going to do. Because from a head coaching perspective, like Mike McCarthy has completely lost his team, in my opinion, and it's not even close. Your quarterback cannot be caught saying that this team fucking sucks on the sideline. Can't do it.
Anyway, speaking of sucking, we've gone so far down so many rabbit holes.
No, for real.
FanBattleSports.com, where you can get the links from the Colts who have a terrible front office, the Texans who can't figure out how to block for their quarterback, the Titans who I don't know what they're doing, and the Jaguars who like to lose to the Lions by 40 points. Of course, always follow us on Twitter at LHFanBattle. Almost at 2,900 followers. We're kind of stuck here. I think we're like right there. We're right there. Tell your family, tell your parents. And battle. Follow us on YouTube right here. You can join the show today. Comment in the comment section. Like the video. Subscribe as always. We would like to try to get to 100. 100. Oh, that's all we're asking for.
Yep.
100 subscribers by the college football playoff. Follow us on YouTube at Longhorn Fan Battle. And it's actually, you know what, Tim? I just realized Longhorn Fan Battle is one word.
You just cut out. I don't know what you said.
Longhorn Fan Battle is one word on YouTube, not three. I just realized that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Maybe that helps people out. So,
Hopefully, yeah. That would help out.
so follow us on YouTube at Longhorn. Almost at 60 actually.
Yep.
Um, and and yeah. All righty, Tim. Before we get here, the Cowboys just need to lose out and get some good draft picks.
I agree.
I agree with that. They need a lot of help at different positions. So, and then plus they need an actual GM. That's not happening to Jerry Jones.
Unfortunately, Jerry's gonna have to bite it in order for us to get a real GM. That's just what it's gonna be. It'll be a sad day. I don't wish death on anybody, but he's not letting go of the reins of that team, and that's just how things are gonna move, unfortunately.
So,
But moving right on.
I'm a Mavericks fan, obviously. So that automatically makes me a Dallas Wings fan.
What if Mark Cuban was a GM of the Cowboys? That'd be great.
What?
If Mark Cuban was the GM of the Dallas Cowboys, that'd be great.
Mark Cuban is better used outside of sports and doing better things for our nation. But that's a much different.
At this point, I'm willing to take anything, man. I'm desperate, dog. I'm desperate.
So you know I'm a Mavs fan, a diehard Mavs fan, which makes me on the WNBA.
Wait. Talk about. Did you see the comment that just came in?
Ah, yes. Hello. This is my favorite secret admirer. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for commenting.
That's hilarious, dude.
Before I was rudely interrupted. I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan, which automatically makes me a Dallas Wings fan. The Dallas Wings just got the number one. And so Paige Buchers is going to be joining us in Dallas.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Right.
What do you think about that?
I'm not mad at it. Listen, Paige is a baller. We know that. And did you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, Paige is a baller. She's proven that time after time throughout the years. And this is gonna be this coming up season for the WNBA is going to be absolutely insane.
It's gonna be nuts, man. It's gonna be a good season. I'm actually very excited. We might have to go to Dallas.
Yeah. That would be dope. That's gonna be dope.
But anyway, all right. Let's talk about some Longhorns. We've talked about everybody else, but what we're here to talk about. Let's talk about Texas versus Arkansas. Texas takes care of business, 30-20. In a game that I don't think Texas dominated as much as they should. They got off to a quick start. Quinn Ewers stows the touchdown on the third drive after a couple of back-to-back 3-and-outs.
Right.
Turnover, and then they finally put the ball in the end zone. And then things kind of go a little bit south.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, then it turns into a grinded out game, which is not something that I expected. But worst comes to at the end of the day, the second half kind of went okay. Texas doesn't really get a lot going. Arkansas gets back in the game. And then Texas has to close it out late in the game with that. Obviously, two beautiful Texas drives. The one drive to put Texas back up 10. And then obviously the one that caps off the game where Quinn Ewers does the option read and keeps the ball for the first down, I believe, on 4th and 2. So what were your thoughts from the game? And before you say your thoughts, can you hear me?
Yes, you were breaking up a little bit, but you're good now.
I think there was something with the audio.
Okay.
Cool. What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on the game overall?
So here's the thing, and I'll make this very, very quick. It was an ugly game. It was a rivalry game. I think a lot of people fail to realize that this was a rivalry game, and they just expected Texas to come in and blow the doors off of this Arkansas team. Their offensive line, I'm sorry, not their offensive line, their defensive line averaged out 310 pounds on defense, on the defensive line. Those are some big boys. Those are not the Big 12 light in the butt defensive lines that are usually more built for like speed and getting to a quarterback and chasing down mobile quarterbacks and things like that. These are like big boys. So our offensive line had a fight. It was a lot of, first off, can we acknowledge that how physical Arkansas is as a team?
Well, that's their game, right?
They're
Sam Pittman likes to run the ball, play good defense, and control the clock, right? Low scoring. I mean, Kalen Green is kind of a one-off to how Pittman likes to run his offenses. He does like scrambling quarterback. Kalen Green gave them a dimension that they didn't have because Jaquindon Jackson comes back and who knows what like a truly healthy Jaquindon Jackson does. He does have a pretty good game this week against Texas. He manages to pull off a couple runs. But at the end of the day, his longest run was only 12 yards. He finishes with 11 carries. I want to talk about the defense here in a second, but this is how Arkansas plays. That's literally how they play.
Yeah. To finish off my thought here, Arkansas was there to prove a point. The offense, I expected everything to happen from the offense. I expected everything to happen that did happen, where they seem to be on a roll. They run into a situation, they get kind of figured out, but they're still able to put points up on the board. It wasn't in a fashion that this is what I think a lot of people and a lot of us fans need to realize. Not every game we're going to put up 40 points. Not every game are we going to put up 30 points. This is a different conference. Like, you're going to have sorry teams like, or bottom of the barrel teams like Arkansas, like a Vanderbilt, where these guys are come in and they will have 3 losses or they will have 4 losses, and they're still
spoiler.
They're trying to play spoiler. They're trying to vibe for a bowl. So of course you're going to run into situations like this, and so these guys you're playing in their home too. This is not they got home field advantage too, regardless of what we want to say or regardless of how great we think Texas is. They have an advantage when you play at home. It would be the exact same thing if Arkansas played at Texas. Texas would have a home field advantage. And I was happy with what they did. Of course, there's some things I want them to clean up on. Again, they were able to run the ball effectively. They had 2 guys over 50 yards carrying. They were able to put the ball down the field. They were able to stop a mobile quarterback, and they were able to defend the deep ball. What more could you possibly ask for from a Texas team? Now, I think if Texas would have scored 28 points, 30 points, no problem. Texas wouldn't even be getting looked at as a soft team. But they played this team tough. They played this team physical, and they were still able to pull out the W. And that's what really matters, is being able to go into an environment with a physical team and match the physical and still put up points on the board. That's what I cared about.
I want to call out a couple. Number one, Tennessee went into the same Arkansas building. A team that people think is a CFP team.
Right.
We'll talk about the rankings here in a second.
Yep.
Went into Tennessee. And not only did they lose, they looked terrible. In a kind of like a similar, like Texas and Tennessee, like as a team, are not too far apart.
No.
Both have excellent defenses and both have inconsistent offenses, because Tennessee's offenses at times have looked really good, but they've also looked very bad, and they've also looked in between throughout the entirety of the season.
Right.
I think second, I don't think people realize how much Arkansas hates Texas. You think Texas A&M is just that annoying little brother, right? Like that's a rivalry in a different sense.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas truly hates Texas. And Sark talked about it early in his Monday press conference last
Yeah.
week. He said these guys are going to come to play because they hate Texas.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand that dynamic in this rivalry. It's been so long since Texas and Arkansas have played meaningful football, right?
Right.
2020, whatever. Like they boat race Sark, and there's a lot of like uh, uh, inner school emotion that goes into this, right? Sark is remembering how much of a beating Arkansas put into this team.
Yeah.
First year. Arkansas fans realizing that this rivalry is back, right? This is a yearly game, and Texas will be in Arkansas next year. And I will be at that game, but people do not realize like how much Arkansas hates Texas. Oklahoma despises Texas. A&M just likes being annoying to Texas. Texas
Right.
Tech is just Texas Tech. Arkansas legitimately hates Texas.
Did you happen to see the press conference prior to the game where college game
Sam
day?
Pittman one?
No, where college game day like phones into a receiver, or not a receiver, but a coach, and they talk to him. I remember seeing some footage where Coach Sark was like on the field, he's walking around, and he goes, man, I don't know. He's like, man, I've been here for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I still don't know why Arkansas hates Texas so much. I don't know what it is, but they hate Texas with a passion. And I listen, as a Texas fan, being a Texas fan my entire life, I don't know much of the history because it was before my time. And so I would really have to go back and do some real digging. This is going back to like before the Southwest Texas Conference. This is going back to the Big Eight, you know. This is the 60s, this is the 50s. They're going like back. This is like my grandmother's time, you know. So
but it's a lot of the same stuff, right? It's a lot of like Texas is to blame for like X, Y, and Z thing that happened.
right.
It's Texas's fault that whatever is the thing that happened to the person is the thing, right? That's why this hate towards Texas from these types of teams come, and because the proximity between all the teams is so close together. Oklahoma, Texas,
Right.
like Tech, like, and so I think those are like two different things. But yes, or Arkansas of all those rivalries just hate Texas. And I think Nebraska's probably like pretty close to that similarity.
Yeah.
And like I just hate. We just hate Texas. Like, that's just what we do.
But
our job is
to understand the Nebraska. I kind of understand the Nebraska situation. I know I'm more familiar with the history between Nebraska and Texas than I am
90s.
Texas and Arkansas.
Yep. No, that's and same here, right? I mean, and just to be fair, like I'm only familiar with the tail end of Nebraska.
Right.
I really only know the A and M, the Oklahoma.
Right. It's a lot,
Nebraska,
dude.
because I mean, most of the 2000s, Nebraska wasn't very good, and except for that 2009.
Yeah, no,
we didn't really get a dosage.
They didn't see. Nebraska didn't really get better until the 2010s, and you know they had that small run, and then just around the same time that we started to kind of tail off, Nebraska started to tail off too, and you know they've recently been back on the rise just like we have. So it's kind of the tail of the same tape, honestly, if you think about it. They're definitely on the rise. Dylan Raiola, he's had some ups and downs, but boy, when he's on, he is on. He is on.
That guy's good.
Yeah, he's going to be good. Now, if he can just stop acting like Patrick Mahomes and act like Dylan Raiola, that would make me a lot happier.
I don't even know what Dylan Raiola acts like because
he acts like baby Patrick Mahomes.
I know. That's all I know him as. I don't know like who the real Dylan Raiola.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That. Maybe he'll like mature. Again, he's an 18-year-old. Any final thought? Like, there's not really a lot. I put out a stout earlier this week.
Okay.
Texas has now faced 3 legitimate scrambling quarterbacks. How many rushing yards do you think they've given up?
The quarterbacks?
Yeah.
I know Milrow was held to last year was held
Well,
to less
Texas
than.
didn't play. I'm talking about the quarter. They played 3 scrambling quarterbacks this season.
Oh,
Of
well,
those 3
I don't think
quarterbacks, what do
I
you?
think that quarterback. I think last week's quarterback. I think he had a total of maybe like 30 yards.
Yeah.
Um, the other quarterback, what's my man from Michigan, Mississippi State?
Yep.
I think he had less than 30 yards,
Yep.
and then
Diego Pavia.
Diego Pavia, like he had 12 yards, I think, right? 30, maybe 20, maybe
He
20.
had the most. So what do you think that total is?
Less than 60 yards.
It's 90 yards between 3 quarterbacks.
I'll take it. I'll take that. I'll
My
take that.
point being, that's the reason why I'm not worried.
Right.
So I have zero concern about the A&M game, and we'll talk about that next week. But this defense, it's the best defense in the country, and nobody can tell me anything different. They lead
Right.
the SEC in interceptions. They're mostly up there, top 5, right? Top 10 in almost
Mhm.
every category in the conference.
Right.
So they're top 5 in rushing. They're top 5 in rush defense. I think they lead in pass defense. Yeah, they're the number 1 team in the SEC in pass defense, and it's not even close. Like Texas only gives up 135 yards passing a game. The next closest one is Missouri, who gives up 180.
And
Total
Missouri,
defense, Texas gives up 249 total yards per game. Who do you think is second?
second,
Yeah.
probably Indiana.
Oh, I mean in the SEC.
Oh, in the SEC. Second in total defense.
Total, yeah, defense by yards. By yards.
Ole Miss.
Tennessee. And they give
Oh,
up 50 more yards than Texas per game. So
yeah.
Texas is at 249
Mhm.
yards a game. Tennessee gets at 290.
That's impressive.
That's
That's
a
impressive.
big difference.
Yeah.
So
That's still very impressive. To only give up 290 yards. That's
yeah, they and they're obviously passes defended. They're top 5 interceptions. They're the top team in the conference. Let's see, fumbles, lost, blah blah blah. Like that. Anyway, point being, Texas is the top team.
yeah.
So, heading into this week, you get another team, Kentucky, who doesn't have a great offense. While Texas is one of the best defenses in the country, Kentucky's offense is one of the worst in literally every statistical category. Like
Right.
they're bottom 5 in the SEC in everything. Brock Vandegrift looks like a JV quarterback.
He didn't look like
I
one
don't
against.
know.
He didn't look
I don't
like
know.
one against. He didn't look like one against Georgia.
He was terrible in that game. There's the reason why they lost that game. If you go back and watch that,
I think it was a
look at
bad
he
call.
throws.
I think there was a blown call. There was a blatant hold in that game. I remember the last couple of plays.
The last minute of that game.
Kentucky was driving. I think he ended up throwing a pick only because of the blatant like hold that they got, and they got off on it. But again, I think Kentucky's going to be motivated. I think Kentucky is going to want to play the role of spoiler. And I think we're going to get a motivated Kentucky team to roll in here in Austin. Now, the great thing about this situation is I don't know about the weather in Kentucky right now, but here they're talking about during the game it's going to be about 85 degrees. So on the field, it's going to be hot.
So Brock Vandegrift for the season has 9 total touchdowns.
Oh.
9 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He has not been good. He's only completed 57% of his passes. His longest.
I do know he will put it in the air and he will throw an interception for sure.
He'll throw a lot of them actually.
Yeah, I know him and Beck for sure will definitely put the ball in the air and throw interceptions. I think Beck's got him cleared for sure. Throwing 3 interceptions in 3 games, but
Yeah, I can check, but let's see. This is
Beck
that's
Beck
most of the.
might have the most interceptions in the conference.
I wish I could see total offense. I'm trying to see if there's anywhere here that shows like passing. Oh, here we go. Individual player passing stats. So yeah, yeah. I mean, their Beck has 12. Nussmeyer has 11, and then I mean 7. Vandergrift just like actually,
Okay.
which isn't
All
too
right.
far off, right? I mean 4 compared to 7 compared to 12. 5 interceptions.
Yep.
Quinn is kind of in the middle.
Right.
Oh,
Quinn
he's got
has
6.
he's got 6 interceptions, correct?
Yeah, so he's not that far off from Vanderbilt, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's season. That's accounting for season. That's not accounting for just conference. I think in conference.
Okay. Let me ask you this. By the way, you're cutting out just a little bit. What are you expecting from Texas's offense coming up this coming weekend? You mentioned that they kind of been off the rails the last couple of weeks. What are you expecting? Are you expecting them to put up 40, 50 points this weekend? Like what are your expectations for that offense?
When you get this far into the season, you kind of know what your team is, right? There's no longer like hoping that something is going to happen.
Right.
There's no longer thinking like, and what we've got is the best defense in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to PK and all the Horns fans that wanted him gone after 2 years and was like, "Oh, Gary Patterson's going
I
to take
was on
over."
board
Like,
with that. I was on board with that.
you were on board with it,
I was
right? Like,
definitely on board with it.
chill, bro. Like, we don't. He still didn't have all his guys, and look, he's got his guys now, and he's firing. This defense is excellent. The offense is inconsistent. We've seen great Quinn Ewers, we've
Mm-hmm.
seen okay Quinn Ewers, and we've seen bad Quinn Ewers. If the defense has traveled, right? If the defense continues to play at the level that they're playing, and you get only okay Quinn Ewers,
Right.
this team is going to win the national title. Now, if you get a great defense and you get good Quinn Ewers, like the Quinn Ewers we saw at the beginning of the season, there's not a team that's better than this team.
Okay.
So that's the difference. I think a good Quinn Ewers or an okay Quinn Ewers and an excellent defense can compete with any team in the country.
Are you looking for Quinn? Are you expecting Quinn to be more of a game manager at that point?
Yes, I want Quinn to continue to move the chains.
Mm-hmm.
Don't turn the ball over, and make the easy passes as they come to you. Like, those fake screen passes that are wide open in the end zone. Sark, this is all about scheme, and it's interesting. So there's this thing that came out that, hey, guys are playing 3 high like the entire time, right?
Yeah.
And be honest with yourself. Do you really think Sark doesn't know how to beat 3 high?
Wait, say that again. You cut out.
Do you really think Sark can't drop a play to beat a 3 high?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That is what he's good for.
Why do you think we're not seeing that then? Do you think maybe there's a team that he plays in 9 days that he's trying to save it for?
Well, I listen, there's a number of things that I could think of off the top of my head. Maybe he's holding because he doesn't want. Maybe he's holding to think, maybe you can keep it very vanilla, right? You can keep the main thing, right? You're playing against these lesser teams, these teams that you should take care of.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to open the playbook as much and then save it for an SEC championship, save it for a rivalry game, save it for A&M, so on. I don't necessarily think that it's not the fact that Sark can't draw up a play because we've seen it. We've seen it
a lot.
We've seen it. What game was that? The Florida game where they did the end around.
Yeah,
did you know that the Kansas City Chiefs put that play into their playbook the next day, and they gave it to Xavier Worthy?
Yeah. Not only that, did you know that play that Sark drew up is actually a combination of two different plays that he saw on TV?
That's insane.
So
So
if you're telling me that Sark doesn't have the ability to draw up something to beat a 3 high look, you lost your mind.
right.
Right.
Yeah. Now
So,
I when it comes to offensive scheming,
yeah,
I think
Sark is good. He's
I think
probably the best.
he's the best, honestly. I think he's the best. And the only reason why I say that is because we've seen what he did in the college realm. We've seen what he's done in the pros. We've seen what he's done at Alabama. We've seen what he's done here at Texas. We've seen it all. So he's got a track record. Honestly, I think that's why he got the job. Is because he's able to put and do wonders with these quarterbacks, and he is just. We've seen what he can do. We've seen what he can do with Jalen Hurts. We've seen what he can do with Tua. We've seen what he can do with a number of quarterbacks, and they've all looked great. So, not to say that Quinn is the anomaly. The only difference between Quinn and these other quarterbacks is his availability because he's been hurt. Outside of that, who knows what type of numbers Quinn puts up if he's available to play in these games. Um, I definitely think if Quinn doesn't get hurt and is able to play and put up
At
some decent numbers,
100%.
he would still be
Probably
kind of
still the high.
number
He'd
one in
probably
that
be the
ranking.
Heisman favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah, he'd
I don't
probably be
think.
the Heisman favorite. So
I
here,
mean,
so yeah,
outside of Travis, is like Cam has not looked good. He's had to play Superman. Travis is an anomaly. Gentry, he has a rush for like 800 yards within the next couple of weeks just to break Barry Sanders' record. Is it possible? Absolutely. Do we think he's going to average over 200 and some odd yards within the next weeks? I'm
well, I
gonna
mean,
say
he averages 200 yards a game right now.
I'm gonna say no,
Kind of
but
crazy.
we never we never know with that guy. He's absolutely insane.
He's in.
But
Yeah,
I think if Quinn was healthy and was able to put some, and I think honestly, I think if he beats Georgia, even if he doesn't put up crazy numbers, I think it still keeps him in the race. I'm not saying that he
I
would be
think
the front runner, but he would definitely be in the race for sure.
so. Knowing all that and saying all that, listen. At the end of the day, and I don't think Quinn cares. Like he's got two focuses, and he said it his entire. The reason why he came back, he said it for two reasons. I got to prove something to myself and show something, right? But I also want this team to do well, and it's about team success.
Yeah,
Longhorns are 9-1, and they're the number 3. They're the number 3 team.
yeah,
According to his goals and what he set out for himself, he's accomplishing those.
yeah,
And so,
yeah.
personally, I just don't think Quinn cares. I think he cares about the team playing well, the team winning, and you know what? At this point, I think for him, it's like it's bigger than just him. The mission is bigger than himself. Is how I
Right.
feel. So, yeah, could Texas come out and put out 50 points just running a blank vanilla RPO offense? 100%. Do they? I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Could they? I think it's going to take a couple of pick sixes because I think Vandergrift does throw 2 or 3 picks in this game. And
Mhm.
I think it's going to take some focus from the Texas offense to put together a few guys. This game could
Yeah.
easily be close
Mhm.
because again, as Kentucky's offense is, their defense is still pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll be
Defense.
interesting. They got 2 big boys in the middle too.
Yeah. They listen. They can get down. I like the fact that Texas is going up against these dogs at on the defensive line. I absolutely love that and enjoy that. So again, kudos to these guys. I wish them the best of luck. Do you have a score prediction for this game?
31-10.
31-10. Okay, so I have 28-14. The only reason why I have 14 because again, I think it gets to a point to where Texas is up big. They get a couple late touchdowns. I think Texas comes out on fire in the first half. They get 7 points. I think they do put up some takeaways. I think they do put up. I'm actually, you know what? I would say 35-14. I think Texas continues to go on this streak of getting interceptions. Jahdae Barron looks like a first-round draft pick, straight up. Like, let's just call it what it is. Makuba looks like a straight-up first-round draft pick. Let's just call it what it is. Alfred Collins looks amazing. Like, these guys are stepping up, and these guys are holding down the fort for that defense. I am very, very proud to see these guys again because they were in a different regime where they could have easily jumped in the portal when Sark came. They could have been gone. They could have got out of there with the quickness, but they decided to stick around. Makuba decided, hey, I'm going to leave Clemson. I'm going to come back home. I'm going to play for my home, my city, and go from there. And they looked really good. They shined so much last week in a situation where they were basically in a dogfight. So I'm going to say 35-14 just because I think that secondary has been on a heater. On the last 4 weeks, they put up a turnover, an interception. And they've had multiple interceptions multiple weeks. But the bottom line is the defense is getting you the ball back. So that is what I believe is keeping Texas in these games. And that when you're working with a short field, you can do a lot more. So 35-14.
I would also put in there, I think Jahdae Barron locked up the Jim Thorpe. I don't think there's anybody that's going to catch him. He's number one for the Jim Thorpe, and I think he's going to run.
Dude, I really hope he wins that Jim Thorpe. That'd be
I don't
dope.
know, but who else is even remotely close? I don't even think Travis.
I want to say the kid out of Indiana. I can't remember his name. The corner out of Indiana. He's had a pretty good season.
Well, let's see how he does against Ohio State.
Oh yeah, that is this week.
That'll tell me a lot about that Indiana team.
What if Indiana beats Ohio State? Does Ohio State not make it in the college football playoff?
Correct.
Okay, I don't know how that's going to happen.
You lost to the number 2 country, and then at the time, and then you lost to the number 5 country. You can't beat, and you're not even going to your conference.
I think if that happens, that for sure knocks Georgia and LSU out.
Maybe
I don't think they move up from that. I don't think.
And if Texas loses to A&M, it keeps those guys in because now you're still talking about Georgia.
Yeah.
The only thing that's keeping Texas ahead of everybody else down there in the SEC is the fact that they only have one loss.
Yeah,
that's why that Georgia loss was so.
It was bad.
It was
bad. At timing was terrible
because of instead of having a 2, if they would have beaten Georgia, right? Let's just say they happen to lose to A&M next week, which I don't think will happen. Then that A&M game, honestly, to Texas doesn't mean anything because they'd already have the SEC title game locked in,
right?
And dang it, they should have lost the right.
Does Texas lock in the SEC championship reign? Do they lock in a position this week, or is it? Do they have to be in there?
Unless something crazy happens, every scenario,
like an A&M loss.
A&M could lose this week, something crazy like that, or maybe let's see. Let's just take a look at this.
Speaking of that, we can move right on into college football poll rankings because this is.
So if A&M loses, right, and Texas wins, then it's going to be pretty difficult to boot Texas out of that number 1 spot. They would have a whole full game lead, but then the problem is next week. Now, I think it would matter because even if A&M lost, Texas would go into that game as the 1 seed, right, as the home team in the SEC title game.
Right.
But then if A&M beats them, I don't know if there's a tiebreaker. Something that would really throw this all off if, let's just say Georgia, Tennessee, and Bama all lose. Then Texas is pretty much locked in. Because then you're talking about three lost teams that are right there. And then let's just say A&M also loses. If all 4 of those teams lose this week and Texas wins, then theoretically it's impossible. Right. But I think this is going to go until next week. Best hope for Texas is you just continue to win. You hope that Georgia and Tennessee somehow lose one of their next 2 games, which I don't see happening. But again, you just don't know, right? Georgia plays. Right. Oh, Georgia doesn't have any more, right? So Georgia's done. They played all their conference Tennessee plays Vanderbilt. That's it.
Vanderbilt could give them a run.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Isn't that
But for me,
isn't that a rivalry game? Hey, dog, it's a
Georgia,
rivalry.
like to me, Vanderbilt, Tennessee is like Texas Tech.
Oh man, Texas Tech kept us from a national championship against Florida.
Okay, Vanderbilt can keep Tennessee from the SEC championship.
I'm just saying, dog. I'm just
Same
saying.
thing. Um, I think that's kind of what that's at. But to me, honestly, Texas controls its own destiny.
Okay,
Like I'm not one of those. It's like, oh man, we gotta hope that Joe loses.
I got you.
Go win your football games. You control your own destiny.
I got you.
And I think Sark's mindset, culture, I think all that is all built. All right, Tim. Let's look at college football poll rankings. The newest polls came out last on Tuesday, and we had a little bit of a shakeup.
We do.
Of course, BYU loses to Kansas, right?
Right.
So that brings up a shakeup,
Yes.
and so the shakeup is Boise State is now the fourth highest rated conference,
Right.
which is exactly how this works. Based on current standings, Oregon is the 1 seed because they're 1 overall.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State was the 2 seed, which also means they can't be the 1 seed because they're not the highest rated conference champion based on standings, right? So they moved down to 5. Texas is the 2 seed because they're the second highest conference champion, and so on. Thoughts on this bracket at this point? Georgia jumps back in. Ole Miss jumps back in. What are your thoughts? Alabama also jumps back.
My only thing here is I don't like where Penn State is. I understand why Miami is where they are. I still don't trust Miami. Again, we know that this is just based on projections. I still don't think Miami can. I don't think that they're gonna beat Clemson. I don't even know. Wait, Clemson, did they lose? They did lose, but they can still.
Clemson lost to Louisville.
Okay, so that messes them up. Okay,
It does, but there's I think they're still in it to get into the conference title. Oh no, they're not. They're still according to their current standing. Clemson is still number 2. Wait, no, Clemson didn't lose to Louisville. They came back.
They did. They won. They won that game. They played
No, I'm sorry. Clemson is 8-2. But that was their first conference.
Okay. Yeah, listen, I just don't trust Miami. Everything else I'm okay with. I don't know what Notre Dame. Doesn't Notre Dame got a pretty hard schedule at the end of the year?
Notre Dame plays Army this week, and that'll be interesting.
Okay, all right.
Am I still cutting out?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Try it without the microphone on the thing. I can't hear you now.
What about now?
I don't trust Miami either. It's too humid. You can't play good football on that.
Hi, what's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Julie Rainey said,
"Whoa!"
Shout out to Julie.
Rainey. Don't trust Florida at all, man. Nobody trusts anything. Man.
Shout out to them.
Am I still having audio issues?
You're good now. You're good for now. Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. I won't touch anything at this point. Okay, so we're talking about Miami. Here's the interesting thing about Miami, right? So Miami's fraudulent. I told you I didn't think they were going to win. I actually maybe I but
Julie says don't trust Florida.
Don't trust There's a lot more than just Miami. But the interesting thing I5, what's going on, man? How you doing? I appreciate
What's
you
up,
joining.
I5?
Thank you guys for joining in here. Like, comment, subscribe as you guys come in. We appreciate the support. Thank you guys so much. But like I was saying, Miami's an interesting team. Outside of Cam Ward, it's a terrible team. This team is bad. It's a bad team. Cam Ward, if Cam Ward did not, if Cam Ward was not their quarterback,
Do you think they would have as many wins that they have right now?
no,
Not at all.
At all. Their defense is good, but that offense is inadequate. Outside of Restrepo, the wide receiver, who I think is actually really good.
I think that's why Cam Ward is up for the Heisman, because he's doing a lot.
He's the definition of MVP, right? I mean,
he's carrying the team. He kind of reminds me of, like, I don't know, like a Cam Newton.
College football defines it, though. So college football defines it as like the best player in the country, right? But is the best player in the country also the MVP of the team?
I mean, listen, you know
is
how
Travis Hunter the MVP of Colorado?
Is he the MVP of his team? Yeah.
Over Shedeur.
Yeah, he's playing both offense and defense.
I'm just asking.
He's Shedeur's number one target.
I think Travis Hunter is running. I think he's the Heisman. Like, there is no conversation to me. Travis Hunter is the Heisman.
Right.
This is what I thought it would take for Colorado for Travis to be in this conversation, and Colorado's already exceeded that expectation. Right? So they needed to be in the hunt for something.
Right.
And they are in the hunt. They've proven me wrong. They are in the hunt. Don't look at the comments because I know they're in the hunt. And like,
the Colorado Buffs, here they come.
So,
oh man,
Travis Hunter is the best player in the country, but and Colorado is in it. See, listen. My wife agrees.
Rolling at all time high, dude. You can.
The messenger from downstairs always.
In Colorado, listen. If Colorado makes it to the Big 12 championship, your house is going to be on fire. We're going to the Big 12 championship. Wait, you already solidified that.
Ready to roll. We are ready to roll.
Y'all already solidified that.
We're solidified.
So you're gonna
go sit next to Deion's hat.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. I forgot that you guys already was looking at it once Colorado like beat up on Texas Tech.
No, we actually waited until last week.
That was Texas Tech. That was a Tech game. Our
seats are right behind Deion's shades.
I need to have a conversation. Wait. I need to have a conversation with you and Tim. Y'all was talking a lot of mess. Yes, I will listen. I will say that I did not think that Colorado was going to come in here and beat up on the Big 12. However,
the Big 12 is down, okay?
The
Big 12 is down.
Listen, let's keep it a buck here. Utah is not looking like the Utah of old. Again, Cam Rising, shout out to him, but he has been hurt again. He's not playing, so there's that. I do think the biggest threat to Colorado is BYU. BYU and Kansas seem to just have a thing. They have battled it out for years, where Kansas has just beat up on BYU. That has been a thing. I think they're on a 2-year win streak right now of Kansas beating up.
Kansas State?
No, Kansas beating up on BYU.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, did they play last year?
Yeah, and Kansas beat them.
Oh, BYU was in the conference last year.
Yeah, Kansas beat BYU last year. Yeah. So I think that this is a situation where, again, you strike while the iron's hot. They playing good ball. BYU, listen. BYU. They did lose, but they're doing their thing. They did. They
No,
are very
here's the
solid
thing.
defense.
Let me tell you about BYU. BYU got bailed out by our homeboy Alex Marr 2 weeks ago versus Utah on that fake or Kevin Marr, whatever his name is, big
Dang.
ref from the Big 12 that got fired from the Pac. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
He was the ultimate Texas hater. He's the guy that doesn't think that holding is a real thing. But except unless it's against the Utah defender on the last
Yeah.
on a fourth down.
Oh
BYU
no.
should have 2 losses right now. I don't think they're that good. I actually think Colorado's better.
Do you think BYU is just as fraud as Miami?
I'd put them on the same level, yeah. I mean, if you think away they played a lot of their games, or they kind of played a lot of their games close.
They do play a lot of the games close. It does come down to the last minute. I think they have more talent on the offensive side. If Cam Ward played for BYU, BYU would win the Big 12.
Oh, you think their offense is that good?
Cam Ward in that Miami offense, they can't stop sacks. They're not catching the ball. They're not running the ball. Like, they're not doing anything. They're literally saying, here, give the ball to Cam Ward. Let's see what he can do. It was
Colorado. It was like Colorado last year.
Dude, in some of these Miami games, and I watched because I do think Cam Ward is really, really good. I think he's going to be the Jaden Daniels of next draft, if I'm being completely honest. I think he has the most upside. He's got a bigger arm, and he can fling it. I think you go and you watch some of these Miami games. Just look at them. It looks like they're drawing up plays in the sand and telling Cam to go do something.
Yeah, no, it does feel that way.
Yeah.
And I can definitely I get that vibe. I get that sense.
Right.
But again, I think we established weeks ago Miami.
Right.
And we just enjoy Miami because Cam Ward is that
good. Yeah, he's that good. He's that good.
So
he really is. What are your thoughts on this playoff with the playoff bracket here?
That 8-9 matchup is so juicy. That is such a juicy matchup. That Alabama Notre Dame matchup.
I think Alabama might catch Notre Dame slipping, dog. I don't think
going to South Bend.
Oh,
in December.
Oh, you know what? I forgot.
Georgia has to go to Penn State in December. Ole Miss has to go to Indiana in December. The tides have turned, baby. The tides have turned.
Whether that is a.
This is the reason why Texas is in a great spot. You don't have to go to a cold weather city. You don't have to worry about playing the best of the Big Ten unless you make it all the way to the final. And you don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about the cold weather games. You don't have to worry about the best of the Big Ten. Listen, Indiana beats Ole Miss. I'm glad we did. Because Texas would dog walk Indiana on a neutral field.
Let me ask you this. Based on this bracket, who do you have beating? Okay, let's just do. I just want to get it. You just give me a quick answer. Don't think. Just give me a quick answer. BYU, Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Alabama, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Penn State, Georgia.
Penn State.
Ole Miss, Indiana. Who you got?
Oh, I'll take Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Okay. Ohio State, Boise State.
Ohio State. Oregon. Penn State.
Penn State. Texas. Okay. So Penn State, Texas. Oregon, Alabama.
Oregon.
Ohio State. Then you got Ohio State, Oregon. Again, possibly for the third time.
I'm gonna take Oregon because I just trust Dylan Gabriel more than I trust
Will Howard. I respect that. Texas versus Penn State.
Texas.
And Ohio State or Oregon versus Texas. Oregon. Do you think Texas is defensive backs can keep up with Oregon's wide receivers?
I don't think it's about the defensive backs. I think it's a combination of those wide receivers and the threats of Dylan Gabriel. You know how Dylan Gabriel toasted this offense. Granted, it's a much different defense, right?
Right.
Texas is what this is the one. This is the one thing where Oregon kind of has everything, and it's kind of clicking at the right time.
You know what the crazy thing is about this situation? Outside of BYU, outside of BYU, no, not even BYU. Outside of Ole Miss, Indiana, and Miami, Texas has seen, and Notre Dame, Texas has seen just about all of these quarterbacks. Throw Boise State in there. Texas has seen all of them. BYU,
There's not a single
Ohio State.
Looking at this bracket right now, I think Texas could beat everybody on this bracket, but Oregon. And that would. So remember when I said it would require Quinn to be really good or good?
Right.
Quinn would have to be good in order to beat Oregon. If you get okay Quinn, you're not beating him.
Right.
If you get good Quinn, I'm not even asking for if you get elite Quinn,
right.
Texas blows this entire bracket out.
Right.
If you get good Quinn, Texas will win this bracket. I don't know if they'll blow everybody out, but if you get elite Quinn, they blow everybody out. If you get good Quinn, you're good enough to beat. They'll beat everybody on this team.
Okay.
If you get okay Quinn, could they do it? Maybe, but is the confidence in that happening high? I don't know. Yeah, we got a lot of the Rayleighs. We got the Rayleigh family jumping in tonight. I think Notre Dame is the most overrated team. Travis, just wait until Notre Dame plays Army this weekend.
If Army pulls out this upset, it's gonna derail the entire bracket. The bracket is gonna be busted for sure.
If Army beats Notre Dame, this whole thing is gonna get really crazy. So
this whole thing is gonna go up in flames.
Do you have any problems with any of these people?
Do I have any problems with what? You cut out.
Do you have any problems with anybody being on the bracket?
No. Again, my only thing is Miami. I understand why Miami's there. I'm gonna ride this out until they get to the ACC championship and blow it. I don't think Miami should be there. I think they're not gonna make it. Just because they're asking for too much for Cam. And their wide receivers got to step up. The running backs have got to step up. We know what they can do on the defense. They can do very well on the defense, but you can't have your defense out there for more than half of a game trying to stop, guys from doing whatever that they do offensively. So other than that, I'm fine with it. I would throw some different teams around just for a different mix-up. I'd like to see Indiana at BYU. I'd like to see BYU at Ole Miss or Ole Miss at BYU. I'd like to see that. Of course, Alabama, Notre Dame. That's traditional. That's just straight up traditional 60s football. Like that's we know how that's gonna go. I don't have a lot of faith in Alabama. If they're gonna only be one-sided and depend on Jalen Milroe to beat Notre Dame, I think Jalen Milroe has the talent to do it. I think LSU is not as I think Notre Dame is better than LSU for sure, especially defensively. However, we don't know what we're gonna get at Alabama, and a lot of people are not looking at Alabama like that because they're winning the games, right? They're beating their rivals and they're getting a lot of love right now. Versus Texas, they're beating their rivals and they're not getting a lot of love, and that is why we could move into the next topic because I got a lot to say to this, and I think it was a love fest at first, but now it is truly changed over. I really think Notre Dame is the most overrated team in this thing right now, for sure.
I don't think Notre Dame belongs on this bracket.
Oh,
if I were to, I'm watching Notre Dame. You really want to know who I put in front of Notre Dame?
Yeah, please.
SMU.
Oh,
I will put SMU in front of Notre Dame. Here's the thing.
Ooh,
SMU has one loss.
I like that.
One loss.
I like that. I like that. I like it a lot.
SMU's one loss. Even if BYU is now at this point only getting benefit of the doubt because they're, I don't think BYU is going to make it because I think Colorado's going to. I think Colorado's
right.
I like whatever. Who cares? I'll deal with the aftermath of that. And so I think Notre Dame gets kicked out. If they lose, I mean, Army beating them helps it, right?
Right.
SMU, I think, gets in if BYU or Notre Dame's.
Okay, that's fair. I like that SMU pick.
As much as we look at like key wins, we don't look at key losses enough in this thing. And that Notre Dame loss to NIU
that is my whole thing right now. That is my whole thing right now. This is the next subject that we're about to bring up is the entire that is my entire gripe about this whole thing. Okay. And we can keep this up because I want to make a point. They have Texas' best win so far against Arkansas, and I think they said Vanderbilt, right? Okay. This is Georgia has 2 losses. Georgia has a loss to Ole Miss. Georgia has a loss to what's the other loss? What's Georgia's other loss?
They lost to Ole Miss and they lost to Kentucky. No, not Kentucky.
Is it?
I'm drawing a blank.
No, I'm definitely drawing a blank right now.
Oh, Alabama.
Okay, so they lost to Ole Miss and they lost to Alabama. Okay. They have really good losses, right? Because they're in a situation where they have 2 losses. Those 2 losses just so happen to still be in the college football playoff. But Ole Miss, you look at Ole Miss has some nasty losses as well. Ole Miss lost to
Ole Miss has lost to LSU.
They're not even so their loss has hurt them even more, or should have hurt them even more, but it hasn't. And they lost to Kentucky, who is at the bottom of the SEC. It
was a 6 loss. The fact that Ole Miss is even in this thing is crazy.
But they're there.
Texas beats Kentucky, right? Let's just say Texas beats Kentucky, right? And they lose to A&M. They shouldn't drop any lower than 10.
Right.
You're going to drop them 10 spots for 1 loss.
Right.
Below a team that lost to a team that they beat.
Right. I'm going to go on a record and say it. I know this is off topic. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this prediction. I think Ole Miss is going to wet the bed and they're going to lose this weekend to Florida. I think Florida is going to come in and shock the world. They're playing at Florida too. I think Florida is going to pull the trigger on them. They're going to throw everything they can at Ole Miss to try to ruin their season.
I hope so because that'll help Texas. If anything, these teams losing this week helps Texas. Like if they were to fall below, it actually keeps Texas up because it's like, dude, Texas. If Ole Miss loses to Florida, then you've lost your argument because now Texas is now beating 3 teams,
right?
And none of these other teams could
beat. My thing is this, and this is just me. Texas lost to Georgia. Did they lose terribly? Some say yes. Some say yes. Some say no. Again, in that second half, I think we see in a different Quinn. I think he got a cortisone shot and just started flinging the ball around. But against that first half, of course, they did not adjust well, and it took them a half to understand what was going on. And by that time, it was too late. But they continue to punish Texas because of that one loss. Greg McElroy, who has always been an avid fan of Texas, as far as these last couple of years, has always been a fan and said, "Hey, Texas is on the rise. Texas is on the rise. Texas is on the rise." Well, he comes out this week after Texas beats up on Arkansas and says, "Oh, they don't deserve to be in the college football playoff bracket. Like they don't deserve a spot." And I'm like, "Dog, the only team that you're losing to is arguably one of the top 5 teams in the game right now." Does Georgia have multiple losses? Absolutely. Do they have an ugly loss? Yeah. But on the cool, it looks better for Georgia because Georgia's 2 losses again are they're in the bracket right now.
Here's the other thing. Georgia has an ugly loss. Bama has an ugly loss.
Bama
Ole
does.
Miss has an ugly loss.
Absolutely.
Guess who doesn't have an ugly loss?
Texas.
Texas' only loss was on. You could argue a change of the offensive line, like offensive line plays a little bit better. That's a different result, right? Like one little thing changes, and that the result of that game could be very different. So you're going to penalize Texas for losing at home to it's the only good team that they've played. Well, that only good team has also dropped the game to a really bad team that Texas has already beaten.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, all 3 of these SEC teams have dropped games that Texas has already beaten. And handedly, right? Texas handedly beat Florida. So if Ole Miss loses to Florida, well, then Ole Miss is out. Texas beat, actually, Georgia's the only one that I'm like, okay, well, they're bad losses. They have quote unquote good losses. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
The week after Georgia. They go to Vanderbilt.
And they gave it, and you know what's crazy is that again, these reporters and these former players, Texas struggled against Vanderbilt. That's the same Vanderbilt that beat Alabama. That's the same one. And you don't credit that at all. You don't credit that at all. You
thing goes back to people were not ready for Texas. No. I've talked about it on and off a plethora of times. I've tweeted about it. I've talked about it. Teams were not ready for Texas to be good.
No.
And these are the reasons why. Because now what we're doing is we're moving.
Now we're playing a bunch of hypotheticals. Like
we're moving goalposts. Well,
we're playing hypotheticals because we're playing hypotheticals because they're like, oh well, if they wouldn't have lost to Georgia, then yeah, of course they would have had a great win. But that great win would have been a 3rd loss possibly. If Texas beats Georgia, right?
Georgia's completely gone.
Georgia's completely gone. But then what does that best win say if they lose 3 games? Yeah. Does it hold as much? Does it still hold weight?
I mean, hell, Indiana's best win is Michigan. Texas boat raced them, and that's not a big win.
Bro, come on now. Let's really just keep it honest. Let's just be completely honest about the situation. If Texas beats Georgia, when they did at the time, it would be Texas' best win, right? But then they went the bet
ranked for one of the country. If Texas beat Georgia, they would be ranked number 1.
Absolutely, I think they would be too.
And it wouldn't be close; it would be unanimous number 1.
Right, but at that point, I feel like they would try to move the goalposts again, right? Because then, they played Georgia, but Georgia's got 3 losses. Georgia's in a down year. They're not doing well. Carson Beck is not playing well. So it's like
what they did with Alabama last year. Remember that?
What more could you possibly want? The only thing that Texas can do at this point, and we said it before, we said it at the beginning of the season. We really been repeating ourselves for the last 5 weeks. Win the games that are in front of you. That's it. Because they're not going to give you any love for losing 1 game. At the time they lost the game to the best team in the country, to one of the best teams in the country. They lost that game. And so Travis says, I'm an Aggie, but I agree. They are just looking for a reason to punish Texas somehow because they look better in the SEC. Golden Childs, Georgia and Alabama. Yeah, absolutely. Georgia and Alabama have been the state.
Forget the SEC. They've been the golden standard of college football for the last 10, 15 years.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
And you know what? It's a new era of college football, and Texas is trying to supplant that, and they're trying to plant themselves as that. Finally, building some level of stability and level of consistency. And again, people are not ready for the 3-letter acronym that we're not going to say out loud. They are
No,
not ready for that.
that is not my acronym. I've never lived by that.
They no, we haven't lived by it, and this channel does not live by it. But people have said it. People have said it. They are truly not ready. And this is the reason why.
Right.
I know we are not getting the same. That's why I just say go keep playing. Go do what you got to do. And you know what?
And it also doesn't make us look any better when Texas is not boat racing people like they have been at the beginning of the season. And so now the Texas is not boat racing people, and they're taking a step back. They still average 38 points per game. They still average that. The average college football game is 30 points. They average 8 points above it. That's insane.
And they give up less than that, right? So Texas on average,
opponents average less than 20. Do you know the only person to score 30 points in the game
38.
is Georgia?
The only what?
The only team to score 30 points in a game, I believe, is Georgia.
Yeah, Texas doesn't give up anything.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing the defensive stats. Let me check here. So defensively, Texas. So they score 38 points a game, right?
Yeah.
They give up scoring defense. They give up 11 on average.
That's insane. That's insane.
12. 11.9.
Is that a historically good defense? And from what I remember watching Texas football, this is a historically
probably
good.
Texasly historically good. Yeah, it's probably up with the 05 defense for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it might be up there with some of those late 80s, early 90 defenses.
Yeah. This is it. Listen, I want
65 defense.
Right. I just wanted to I just wanted to make this clear that, and I said it at the end of the Arkansas game, during the Arkansas game, Texas is the best defensive in the country. I don't care what anybody else says about that. You can't. It's not about opponents. They played the opponents. Even Georgia, your beloved Georgia, was only able to put up 30 points. They should have. That game should have been a lot closer than what it was. Again, but we understand. You know, you gotta put points on the board. They didn't, and so they lost.
Had a bad game. Everybody in the SEC had a bad game.
They had a bad game. That was their bad game. I don't want to hear anything about Texas being soft ever again. Unless somebody like Georgia comes in and completely blows the doors off of Texas, like Georgia did in that first half, I don't want to hear anything about Texas being soft ever. Not this season. I don't want to hear. You can't say that. They played physical teams. They played Florida. Florida is a physical team. Look what they're doing to people. Even in losses, look what they're doing to people. Look what they did to LSU. Look at Vanderbilt. Regardless of what you want to say about Vanderbilt put an L on Alabama, and they looked good doing it.
Yep.
Look at Arkansas. Arkansas put an L on LSU, and they did it in really good dominating fashion. And they like Texas went into Arkansas and Fayetteville and banged with those boys. The last time Texas was in Fayetteville, they got boat raced, dog.
Oh, it was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing.
Arkansas ran for 338 yards.
Ran out the gym. Yeah. Not this year. So I don't want to hear anything about Sark being. I don't want to hear anything about Sark being, or Texas being soft at all. I'm done. We can move on to the next thing, or we can just close this thing out. I'm done.
Just a couple recruiting bets real quick.
Yeah.
There are rumors that Michael Terry III was supposed to announce earlier this week, but that didn't happen. There's still no dates. Oh. Breaking news. Oh, no, just kidding. Not breaking news.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that to me, dog.
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, still no date set for Michael
Okay.
Terry the third. Michael Pasusi will be in town on Saturday for the Kentucky game, and there's rumors he will be at College Station probably as an A&M recruit this week. He is currently, for those of you guys that don't know, Michael Pasusi is the best lineman in the state, offensive tackle, currently committed to Oklahoma. He probably thinks that the 5-7 that I was right about is probably not a good team to go to, so he decommitted from Oklahoma. So he's
Right.
or no, he is rumored to be committed to Oklahoma, but then he wouldn't be visiting Texas and Texas A&M on back.
Yeah. I mean, we just
Um,
saw this earlier today. Bryce over Underwood was committed to LSU, and he was there at LSU and said, "Hey, listen, I'm rocking with LSU," and he had his LSU gear on, and now he's a Michigan Wolverine.
okay, yeah, and then breaking news from an hour ago: Decorian Moore officially shuts down his recruitment. He's no longer taking any visits or any other
Okay.
conversations. That shouldn't be surprising to anybody. Just a couple guys you guys can keep an eye out on. Myron Charles, the defensive lineman that Texas flipped from Florida to Texas, is visiting Florida this week. I guess he wants to go see how bad it is in the swamp again. He probably forgot. No big deal there. Jamie French is also rumored to be there.
Yep.
So actually, no. Jamie French will actually be here this weekend. He tweeted out earlier. I remember. Jamie French will
Oh,
be here this weekend.
oh,
So
he was supposed to go to Florida this week, though.
yeah, he tweeted out earlier today, and I think I wanted to keep an eye on it. Jamie French. Um,
Okay.
yeah, Jamie French will be here this weekend. I think he said something along the lines of jumping on a plane or something like that. Yeah, I'll be back at the crib tomorrow, so he will be here tomorrow, and he
Okay,
can break
that's
up
what's
the
up.
horn. So Jamie French originally rumored to go to Florida, now actually coming back here. I'm sure Miami is still pursuing him.
Oh,
Um,
for sure. They're gonna
I
try
would.
to lock him down.
Yep.
We got the transfer portal coming open here in a matter of 2 weeks. We've got a number of things happening here. So uh in the next couple of weeks is going to be really, really busy. And we will try to keep you guys filled in as much as possible as things break. Um, outside of Jonte Cook going into the portal, I don't think that there's anybody else that I could see going into the portal. But you never know. And if there is anything that happens with the Longhorns, we'll definitely let you know. Even if we have to jump on here for a quick second just to kind of give you an update or a reaction, if need be, we'll definitely jump on there and do it.
I also want to call out. There's one more. Wilt Fong. You guys might
Okay.
know the big Steve Wilt Fong. He's the big like recruiting predictor guy on
Mm-hmm.
Three. Did put in a prediction, and earlier this week he put in his what do they call crystal ball or whatever
Yep.
for Mbacho to Texas.
For
Um,
who?
Mbacho, the linebacker who was previously, I think he was committed to Ohio State.
No
Or
way.
yeah, I think was it Ohio State?
You're
Oh, I
saying
need
that
to find it.
the number one linebacker in Texas?
I don't know if he's number one. Where is it? I know I saw it. I need to go find it. But it was one of those Wilt Fong prediction things. Unfortunately, I don't know how to spell his name. I thought I spelled it correctly, but I couldn't. Gotcha. Football. Let me see if it comes up.
That would honestly, that
Oh, here
would
we go. Yeah. So, Joseph Mbacho. He is a defensive lineman out of California. I think is where he's from.
okay.
Nope, not out of California. Jeez, where is this guy from? Joseph Mbacho. There he is. So, hold on. Joseph. think I'm saying that right too. Here we go. Defensive lineman out of Georgia. So out of Loganville, Georgia.
Okay.
Um,
I thought you were talking about God, what's his name? Pettijon.
Pettijon. Yeah,
Yes.
Pettijon is interesting. I've read that he's still committed to A&M.
No, he's committed to
No,
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Yep.
But I did hear that Texas is still well.
Right.
Speaking to him,
Right.
and speaking to him right now doesn't mean much because we're not really allowed to talk.
Right.
They've been in contact, right? I'm sure through third parties.
Right.
The one guy I'm really interested in is Justice. That's the big 5-star guy. Um, again, out of the state of Texas.
Okay.
Out of Georgia.
Okay.
Who is currently committed to. He is currently committed to Alabama.
Okay.
No, he's committed to. He's predicted to go to Georgia, but I think Texas is trying.
They're trying to flip him.
They're trying to flip. They're trying to flip him.
Okay.
But it looks like he might be headed to Georgia. He's visiting. He will be at the Auburn game this week.
Okay.
For A&M and Auburn. So, I think at the end of the day, Texas is going to be fine in this recruiting class.
Mm-hmm.
If they can steal Michael Terry, they can get Fasusi. They can go get Mbacho. Find a way to flip Riley Pettijon. Maybe I'm hearing
if they flip Pettijon and Fasusi, that's the number one class in the nation.
I think it's either very close or it is, because now you're talking about you flipped a guy. Oh, Devin Sanchez is another. Now Devin Sanchez, he's the cornerback out of Houston. I don't think he out of North Shore. I don't know. He's really committed to Ohio State. Texas, obviously he flew, Sark flew a helicopter out there to go visit him. That's not really
right.
Thing. To have conversations and maybe be like, hey Devin, maybe you tripped over yourself. So that happened a few weeks ago when Texas had their first bye week. But we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty sure now if they flip Devin Sanchez, then I definitely. But even if they can get a couple of these flips, you're easy talking top two for sure. So
yeah,
recruiting is the first signing day is coming up.
Yep. Early was signing day.
National signing day 1 might actually be in a couple weeks. But that's literally right after conference championship potentially.
Right.
But we'll keep an eye on it.
Yep.
November 13th. So technically, we're kind of in that period.
Oh, that's that was NIL though, right? NIL dealings.
It says student athletes in all sports. Oh, except D1 football and basketball.
Okay.
So everybody else is signing except D1 football. Oh, football is December 20th to 22nd. So we've got about a month away.
About a month.
They actually pushed it back.
Yeah.
So in between playoff rounds, essentially that week before the quarters.
Yeah.
Is what national signing day is. So we've got, this is the final push. We got 30 days. We'll be here for all of it.
Yep.
And that's it from us, man. We've been live for almost 2 hours.
It's been an eventful week. It's been an eventful day. Shout out to everybody that chimed in and left comments for sure.
Thank you guys for chiming into the comments. I saw, continue to subscribe, share with your friends, share with your wife, share with your neighbor, share with your homeboy, your homegirl, share with your dog. Tell everyone to and subscribe to the video channel. Before we get out of here at 10, where can
you can find me at Tim Wayne. You can find me on Blue Sky at Tim Wayne now. I like it over there. It's less noisy. It's more quiet. So, if you want to talk football, chat it up, feel free to reach out to me. Again, We're going to be bringing all of the news that we can possibly bring. Again, this is going to be the next couple of weeks is going to be really, 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 really busy. So we're going to try our best to bring all of that information to you live and in effect. So just make sure that you continue to follow us at Longhorn Fan Battle on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Thanks again to those guys reaching out today and watching. And make sure you follow us on TikTok, man. We're slowly but surely building up on that, and I'm looking forward to chatting it up with you guys on TikTok as well.
Yep, you can find me at the Uncle Gandhi, also at LH Fan Battle, and at LH Fan Battle on Blue Sky as well. I will get Blue Sky on my phone. We will start to be a little bit more active there. But thank you for our first 5 followers. I did have one post on there that I did remember to copy and paste. But I didn't other ones, so we'll start to become more active on Blue Sky. We appreciate you guys joining in. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you for liking the video, subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate it. It's going to help us out a lot. Hey, between now and then, my name is Harish. That's my guy up there.
So Gabriel.
Go home, touchdown like the end zone.